Last-minute changes to the top management at several schools. A call for greater options to get young people moving. Sea eggs to be made available in Barbados despite the ban on local harvesting. And in sports, the Royals exit CPL 2023 with a heavy defeat to the Warriors.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Boeing. Last-minute changes to the top management at several schools caused some concern during what was an otherwise relatively smooth start to the new school term. Thousands of students returned to the classroom for the start of the 2023-2024 academic year. We get the details now on how it all unfolded from Crystal Hoyt, who visited several schools and toured St. Stephen's Primary with education officials.
Last-minute changes to the leadership at several secondary schools across the island have resulted in complaints from a number of teachers. CBC understands some of the principals and deputy principals were informed of their reassignment to different schools only within the last few days. Some teachers who spoke to CBC said the changes were communicated after planning week and would mean adjustments have to be made. Explaining the situation, Chief Education Officer Dr. Ramona Archer-Bradshaw says the Ministry of Education was only notified recently of the selections and appointments, which were done by the Public Service Ministry and take effect from today, September 18th.
We understand that the appointment and the assignment are not ideal in terms of timing, but this is what we have to deal with at this time, and we crave the indulgence of the teachers, the students, the principals and deputy principals who have been assigned and appointed, and those who will have to revert.
Beyond that, she was pleased with how the first day of school got underway.
I have received no negative reports about the opening of school, so I look forward to a very productive academic year.
She shared that the Education Ministry and the Ministry of Health and Wellness are working on ways to keep students comfortable in the learning environment, despite the extreme heat being experienced.
Includes allowing children regular water breaks, allowing children to sip water throughout class time, possibly moving children from a hot classroom to a shady area outdoors. One of the things that we will be doing as well is that we will be conducting an audit to determine which classes and which schools will need water coolers and which schools will need fans.
Dr. Archer-Bradshaw added that uniform rules have also been relaxed.
We have allowed students and parents the flexibility in being dressed for school. So instead of wearing the full uniform, some children wear a shirt on the inside and an overall and then a belt. We will allow them to wear their games uniform or a plain white t-shirt and games pants. That is to beat the heat.
She's encouraging students to drink adequate water during the day to avoid dehydration. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Well, Crystal also had the opportunity today to speak with students, parents and teachers and the principal.
Students and teachers returned to the classroom this morning to start the new school year. Principal of the Roland Edwards Primary School, George Francis, says for the most part, the school is ready.
I know for sure the teachers are more than ready. Some were here up to yesterday doing some extra work. I must say also too, I'm thankful to other government departments. We had the National Conservation coming in to help cut the grass around the school. The Sports Council also came and they cut around the iron playing field. There were some parents who came by and also did some work in and outside of the school.
He's even more grateful to parents for donating fans given the hotter than usual days.
A number of them have been bringing in fans and donated to teachers last week to keep in the classrooms. And we are also encouraging them, the children, to use as much water as possible.
Over at Alexandra School, the heat was also a major issue on the minds of teachers. However, they were excited to welcome students back.
We're really looking forward to this new school year. I know it's kind of hot. I teach physical education, so we are going to be struggling, but we have plans in place to deal with the heat. We are looking forward for the first farmers coming in. I know they're very excited, and we're just as excited to deal with them.
It's always good to have the students back from the summer vacation. We have some music that we're going to play for the first years as they enter to help them feel a lot more comfortable. You know, they're coming in nervous and uncertain about a lot of things the first years. So we just want them to feel comfortable at the new school, the best school in Barbados, the Alexandra School, the beacon of the North, and they're coming to a wonderful school, and we want them to feel welcome.
While teachers were excited, parents and students had first-day jitters.
Nervous, very, very nervous. Extremely nervous.
I'm pretty excited for her, nervous at the same time. She's going into her first farm. This is a new chapter, a new journey for her. So I'm pretty confident that she will apply herself and do well. How are you feeling?
Nervous.
This school term will run from today until December 14th. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Crystal, thank you. The Barbados Union of Teachers is congratulating those principals and deputy principals who were appointed to their posts. However, President Rudy Lovell believes the process could have been better executed.
The notice of the transfer came extremely late, and we are of the opinion that it could have been done much better. Nevertheless, we once again congratulate those teachers who were appointed to the post of principal and deputy principal.
A public service vehicle spokesperson is tonight reporting a relatively smooth resumption to transporting school children to and from their respective destinations. Director of Public Communications and Public Affairs at the Alliance Owners of Public Transport, Mark Haynes, says he had 0 complaints. He told CBC News commuting for some started as early as 4:30 this morning and was relatively incident-free. Mr. Haynes says today was just the first day of school. However, he would like to see the behavior exhibited today remain the norm.
It was off to a good start. I was really pleased with what I have seen, and I shall monitor as the week progresses. And if I were to see anything that I think that's inappropriate, I shall be speaking to it publicly. And I urge the workers to not use no profanity on the vehicles, but move the nation's children safely as they traverse, and not to influence them into any kind of bad behavior, because this will not be good for their development and the sector by extension. Because what happens is when persons do this, they bring the sector and the public disrepute.
Mr. Haynes is, however, expressing some concern about pirate PSV operators who continue to deprive the legitimate operators of their livelihood. He says the illegal operators raise issues of safety and insurance liability, which have to be seriously considered. It is for this reason that he believes government needs to stamp out this practice.
That continues to be a problem with which we have to grapple. That does not fall under our remit, but that falls under our observance. It is imperative that the government of Barbados set up, the Ministry of Transport and Works set up a mechanism or a special unit whose job it is to ensure that they go after persons who pirate. It is not fair for the other guys in the sector to pay the requisite taxes and so on, and you have people who just come and drive vehicles on the road and commute persons.
We'll take a break here, but coming up, more information shared about government's efforts to safeguard the National Insurance Fund. As the public debate continues about the National Insurance Fund, a government minister has called on the Democratic Labour Party to tell Barbadians why it did not pay any contributions for public servants for 3 years. According to Minister in the Ministry of Finance Ryan Strawn, the decision resulted in $250 million Barbados dollars being owed to the fund. He highlighted the issue last evening at the annual general meeting of the Barbados Labour Party's St. George South branch. He noted the money was eventually paid by the current government.
Anytime you hear anybody from the Democratic Party talk about the national insurance, I want to ask them a simple question. Why they didn't pay national insurance contributions for a single public servant? between 2015 and 2018. And I repeat it. Why, when I didn't pay national insurance contributions for a single public servant between 2015 and 2018?
And hitting back at critics who have been calling for the Barbados Labour Party to repay the $1.3 billion it wrote off to the NIS, Mr. Strawn also spoke about the decisions the DLP made that put the fund in the position it is currently in.
You remember the $600 million in bonds that it issued in 2017 for Kiko? You remember that? You remember that? $600 million in bonds. Had no way of paying it back. And you know how much assets they took for it? $60 million. So when we did the debt restructuring, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand that when people are talking, when they're talking, right? When they're talking, they should be careful.
The police are probing 2 suspected drownings today. According to Police Communications and Public Affairs Officer Inspector Rodney Innes, the first incident occurred around 19 minutes after 9 this morning along Brandon's Beach in St. Michael. The deceased has been identified as 80-year-old Keith Evelyn Beckles of number 3 Bluebell Drive, Husband, St. James. Lawmen say his body was discovered unresponsive, floating in the area of the water park. It was retrieved from the water and brought to the shore by Coast Guard personnel. A medical doctor on location pronounced him dead, and his body was later identified by a relative. In the second incident, the body of 42-year-old Faye Ann Cadogan of Church Street Gardens, St. Peter, was discovered unresponsive around 10 minutes to midday along Haywood's Beach in Speightstown. Police say a visitor noticed Cadogan's body floating in the water and pulled it ashore. A medical doctor pronounced her dead, and a relative subsequently identified her body. The police are asking anyone who can provide information that can assist with these investigations to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477 or to call the nearest police station. In other news now, amid concerns about the obesity statistics among children, the Barbados Childhood Obesity Prevention Coalition is advocating for greater options to get more young people moving. The group's new chairperson, Professor Anne St. John, was a guest on CBC TV's Morning Barbados. She says while the National Nutrition Policy stipulates that students should have a period and a half of physical activity each week, that's not enough.
The recommendation is between 30 and 60 minutes of moderate exercise per day. We have to now get away. Unfortunately, the COVID pandemic reversed what people did and practices. Get away from more than 2 hours of screen time per day because students were spending 4 and 5 hours on a tablet, a cell phone, looking at TV. Get away from that and just go into some more activity. And there's a wide range of activities. Instead of everybody trying to be an athlete and trying to get to the Olympics, be Olympian, there is a wide variety. There's Zumba, there's yoga, there's martial arts, which can all be or could be possibly incorporated in the school's curriculum.
A key priority for Professor St. John as she takes up the helm of the coalition is the implementation of octagonal front-of-package warning labels. She says this will help parents to purchase healthier items for their children.
It says high in sugar, high in salt, sodium, high in trans fats. So this, when you go into the supermarket and you look at the shelf, you see the label on the product, and this is the easiest way rather than trying to read the fine print. We know that industry has supported it in Barbados and government has voiced support. As recently as last week, the Minister of Small Business attended a workshop and it was voiced they are in support. So we just need the action to happen now. We are not going to be happy with a lot of talk. We want to see it converted into action for the health of our children.
Well, while feeding children and creating healthy habits can be challenging, the coalition is telling parents and guardians it's possible to provide cost-effective, healthy snacks. Setting the example, the coalition rolled out its Healthy Hampers Back to School edition. It's a second hamper drive, the first being in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, targeting Barbadians living with non-communicable diseases. 120 packed healthy hampers were donated with the assistance of its sponsors Signia Globe, Supreme Distributors and Guardian General Group to the less fortunate this time around. Outgoing chair Dr. Kia Lois says children's homes benefited along with at-risk youth from the Heart and Stroke Foundation. She broke down the contents of the healthy hamper for parents to consider.
We've done it in keeping with the Ministry of Education. They've said at least 3 water days, so you will see several bottles of water in the hamper. But just to note, an even cheaper way would be to buy a water bottle, right? Also, you will see several fruits to represent the fruit days, the 2 fruit days. And we include a few packaged snacks as well. All of these are very, very reasonable snacks. And again, they're snacks that you will find on the new alternative snack and beverage list. So we've also included 2 100% juices, as this has also been approved. So we're just really, really pleased to be able to roll out this initiative, and we're hoping that we can help Barbadian parents to make better decisions.
I hope it settles it now. You no longer have to ask me where Anne-Marie Burke is. She is back. Anne-Marie, you were missing, and yeah, we missed you, but good evening.
Good evening, Pearson. It's good to be back. Players from Trinidad and Tobago produced dominant performances to win some of the major categories at the 39th edition of the Barbados Golf Open Championships held over the weekend at the Barbados Golf Club in Durance, Christchurch. Leading the top 3 in the men's championship flight was Christopher Richards, Liam Bryden, and Zico Correa of Trinidad and Tobago. Richards finished with a gross total of 2 under par after 3 days of action with scores of 75, 67 and 72. 2 strokes back was Bryden at even par and Correa 2 over par. The highest placed Barbadian was Simon Proverbs, who was 5th with 4 over par. Junior Charles repeated as the senior men's champion and Richard Lara the super seniors. Even cricket legend Brian Lara finished among the top 3 in the men's first flight.
I hit the ball pretty solid this weekend. Kind of the first year still struggling, but the last 2 days I kind of find it and just groove it in. The course was in tremendous condition. We played it down. The greens roll nice, pretty smooth.
The course was nice. I mean, the second time winning here, I mean, it had some way you love it. I guess I love this golf course.
In the Ladies' Championship, Mathieu Issa of Jamaica was impressive with a gross 15 over par after scores of 78 on Friday, 77 on Saturday and 76 on yesterday's final day. Her closest rival was Mariella Young of Barbados, way back at 38 over par, and last year's champions Chloe Adoja of Trinidad and Tobago was 3rd after 41 over par. Chanella London of Guyana was 4th, and Mara Thompson, widow of the late Prime Minister David Thompson, was not far behind in 5th.
It was challenging but fun nonetheless, 3 days in the heat, in the heat wave I should say. It was a great course, good conditions, so I'm really just, happy. Competition was good, some amazing women and girls, and, I played well, so I'm, proud of myself.
In business tonight, we are hearing that Barbadians will still be able to enjoy sea eggs this season. A Vincentian company, Canoan Foods Limited at Skyway Plaza in Christchurch, has heard the cries of Barbadians for the delicacy and will have sea eggs available from this week. The Barbados Fisheries Department said last week there would be no harvesting this year. Canoan Foods Limited's sales executive, Tia Nurse, explained how they were able to offer sea eggs without contravening the Fisheries Department's directive.
They're being imported from CBC and Granese parent company, so you can still get them frozen once they're imported in, once they're not harvested here.
The company opened its doors today, and the sales executive told the Business Report it's a one-stop shop with a wide variety of items. An accounting organization, along with a number of Kiwani's clubs, including one at the primary level, got together to donate supplies to the geriatric hospital. The gifts included wheelchairs and a lot of other much-needed supplies for the residents of the Beckles Road institution. Accepting on behalf of the hospital was Senior Sister Sheila Seeley, who thanked them for the gesture.
However small, we appreciate it, and our scarce resources, I'm sure that these tokens will go a long way in giving care to our clients. Thank you for thinking of us. You could have thought of anybody else, but you chose to think of us here at Geriatric Hospital, and we appreciate that. Our elderly, they have contributed significantly to our society, and this is your way of giving back, and we say thank you, thank you, thank you. We are sure that these items will go a long way, as I said, and helping us to enhance the care of our patients. And to our little ones, thank you for sacrificing to make our elderly clients a little bit more comfortable.
Well, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Barbados, which was among the donors, thanked the private sector members who contribute annually. Lisa Padmore, Interim Executive Director, says the donations are a clear sign the little ones understand financial literacy and they want to partner with clubs to train in this area.
I think that the Institute would be very pleased too. I've already invited myself to share in February to talk to your group there, and in general actually to feature these three lovely young ladies on our social media, because we would like to demonstrate the value of understanding money and the value of money. And I think that this story itself is one that I think many people would be inspired by.
True to her word, she's back with a second look at sports. Anne-Marie.
Yes, and I promised you some road tennis news. The round of 32 was completed last night at the Silver Hill Courts in Christchurch as the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023 will now move into the quarter-final stage. Let's look at the action. We serve it off with ladies action where Juliet Worrell back in the screen to call Rachel Smith. Smith already had the upper hand, having taken the first set at 21-14, and Worrell is making sure that she had to work much harder for the points in the second one, having a response to every return. It was one of the longer rallies, and then Smith literally dropped the ball, giving Worrell the point. But Smith was not having it and quite often delivered some lethal shots. Even my cameraman felt the power. And soon enough, she had Worrell held to 6 points and nothing more she would get, as Smith just had the upper hand. Talk about an easy drop shot. Game and match point. Smith serves and Worrell returns, but on the second go at it, it's out of court as Smith conquers, signing it off with the second game at 21-6. The other ladies' match featured Maudlin Blunt back in the screen as Shireen Ward, and the early exchanges saw a seesaw of points. Ward nicely guiding it down the line. Blunt would respond, coming to the net to go for the kill. I must give Ward credit for really making Blunt work for the points, and when she delivered, she was spot on. But Blunt was the one who would conquer. This is where she was able to claim the first game at 21-12 before going on to take the second at 21-10. Into the men's action, Marson Johnson in the blue and green, having taken the first game at 21-14, was looking to get over Shabir Greenwich in the same way. But it was not going to be that easy, as Greenwich was fighting tooth and nail to make it an uphill task. And it was also keeping check on the score sheets. This point came down the line. Actually, Greenwich was truly showing he meant business. What a backhand shot. But in the overall scheme of things, Johnson was the one who needed to win this game to stake claim to the match. And once an opening was given, he capitalized. Now he was the one who meant business. And here is where he booked his ticket to the round of 16. After what was a long, hard-fought game, Greenwich returned a bit too hard and it goes out of court. Johnson takes the second at 22-20. And the man defending his title, Mark Venom Griffith, back in the screen up against the young and upcoming Suave Clark, who gave the veteran some lessons in between. The crowd was loving it. I have to give it to the youngster. He came out guns blazing and was putting Griffith under pressure with quick and powerful returns. And though Griffith is known to calmly hold his own, he did cave at times, hitting into the net. But Griffith is known for his quite lethal approach, reading the plays like a boss and striking just when it's hot. This play showed the experience. And as expected, he would conquer, but kudos to Clark for a well-fought game. Griffith was able to take the first at 21-12 and the second at 21-10. And the night's final match was a battle of the young titans. Raheem Nurse facing the screen and Ezekiel Ward. They were going shot for shot, dragging the ball low. The pace was quick fire, switching the pace and the shots before someone would get the breakthrough. And watch as Nurse does just that to the crowd's delight. But Ward, having won the first game at 21-15, was not about to miss the opportunity to advance to the next round. And boy, did he have Nurse under pressure. And the errors started to mount up. And we could see Nurse losing his nerves in the midst of it all. And Ward fed into that and just applied the pressure even more. That was a sweet sweeping backhand to gain the point. And soon enough, it was a done deal. Nurse trying his best to keep up, but Ward with the return on point, and then he forces Nurse to go long, and with that, it's the game and the match at 21-17. The quarter-finalists have been decided.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending yours with us. I'm Pearson Bowen for the crew. To all of you, good night. We will see you tomorrow.